Welcome to this edition of Week in Review. I'm Marlon Paley, and as you can see, my co-host is not Hannah Luttrell today. It's Myori Ito. She's one of our delightful volunteers here at the Loma Linda Broadcasting Network. And today we're going to talk about her service as a volunteer and why that's important to the ministry of the LLBN network. Myori, thank you for joining me for this edition of Week in Review.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Now, I was wondering, what does the name Myori mean?
Oh, because my mother was a type of a person who likes to name each one of her children with a biblical meaning. So I don't think you have the time to listen to all this because...
Well, make it short. What is the biblical meaning of Myori?
That means be obedient to God and Son and the Holy Spirit.
Wow.
Mi means three. Yori means obedient. Isn't that something? When my mother named me that, I didn't know the meaning because I was a little baby. But then as I grew up, older and older, then we found out what the meaning was. I said, wow.
That's amazing. So in Japanese,
Myori.
Mi means three.
Mi means three.
Yeah.
And Yori means obedient.
So you're obedient.
To God and the Son and the Holy Spirit.
The Trinity.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. So in your life, have you found it easy to be obedient to those three?
Well, if you have a name like that, and then if you're not obedient, then they're going to look at you.
Well, that reminds me of a story that isn't in the Bible when Jesus is going to give us our new names written on a white stone. And it sounds like your new name is going to be probably similar to the one your mother gave you.
That's right.
Yeah. So were you born in Japan? Tell me the story of how you ended up
America.
Here. Yeah.
Okay, I was born in Mountain View, California, because my father came from Japan as an immigrant and brought many, many farmers from area where he lived, because there are so many farmers. They needed more ground. So my father gathered all those immigrants together and they came to America. And then after he became a Christian, there was a wonderful, wonderful Christian camp meeting held by the Pacific Union College. And then so friends said, hey, why don't we go to that? Okay. So my grandfather and then a friend went to little camp meeting and then became a good friend of Elder Granger. He was a very wonderful teacher at the Pacific Union College. And then I heard the story about my grandfather, why he's working as a hotel boy.
So can we just fast forward in the interest of time to his mission service? How long was he a missionary?
My father?
Yes.
Grandfather?
Yes.
Well, so when he went to PUC, and then an Elder Granger taught everything about Adventism. And then my grandfather was very impressed. I like to go back to Japan and then become an evangelist. So I think maybe Wednesday night meeting or Friday night meeting, my grandfather stood up. I'd like to go back to Japan as a missionary. is anybody will go back with me? And Mrs. Granger was attending the meeting that time. So he mentioned that Elder Granger, he said, why don't we go back with them? So Elder Granger and Mrs. Granger, my grandfather, went back to Japan together to start the work in Japan.
As he was the first one?
First one.
First one.
First one. There's no Adventism.
So I'd like to talk to you about your experience as a volunteer at LLBN.
Yes.
Why do you do this for LLBN?
Well, because I love whatever I can do. And then my husband and I, after we got married, this is a long time ago story, we used to go to the Hill Church because that's where he wanted to go. But he had a stroke, so he couldn't go to the Hill Church anymore. So we started watching the LLBN. And we were so impressed with the LLBN, what they're teaching. And then my husband said, I think I'd like to help LLBN, possibly, because he cannot go to church anymore because he had a stroke. And so we started watching the LLBN on the TV because he couldn't go to church anymore.
It was your church at home?
So that was a church at home.
Yes.
And we are so thankful that we're at this age where you could go to church, even at the LLBN, instead of going to be at the church building. So I have been so thankful about what's happening and what I see every day. I go to LLBN station every day. Meantime,
what do you do when you come here?
well, I think he could tell you what I do.
But he's behind the camera, so you tell me.
Well, what I do is I stuff the envelope.
Yeah.
That somebody send it as a gift.
Yes.
You know, tithes and the offering.
And you send the receipts back and the letters.
Yeah.
Do you need help with that? Or can you handle it all by yourself?
Oh, right now I could do it because he does too.
So, okay.
So we work together.
But if somebody would like to join you and volunteer, what would you say to them? Just look right into the camera and
It's a wonderful thing.
Well, tell them.
Everything that you do as a volunteer is that you're returning your thanksgiving to God. And then I tell you the reason why I got connected with LLBN. It's not only a TV program, but then her name is Linda Crawford.
Yes.
She and I became a friend.
Yes. Now, Linda was our business manager about a year ago or so, and now she has moved out of state.
She's married.
Lily is
She's married now.
Yeah, and Lily took her place.
Anyway, I tell you, it's a miracle. Miracle, whatever you do, you pray God, dear Lord, I'm alive still. Please use me for some reason. Then you get connected with somebody that I could help. And then Linda Crawford is the one who helped me to change our job full of money. And then I couldn't drive anymore to go get to the bank. So she took me, and then I was so surprised that you could exchange gold and silver money for so much money. So we gave it to Linda to take it to LLBN.
You're talking about a donor that gave actual silver coins and gold, and so you took
That's my husband.
Yes.
He had a jar full of it.
Yeah.
And then Linda took me to a coin place to exchange it. And then, so then, you know, I'm so thankful that you helped me. So Linda and I became a good friend. And then Linda said, you know, if you wanted to help, there's something that you could help. So what can I do? Why? You could stuff the envelope. And that's why I stuffed envelope. Simple enough to do it. I didn't have to have a brain to do that. So I'm so glad that I got in touch with that so I could help.
Last question for you.
Yes.
What would you say to our viewers around the world about the importance of supporting this work?
You know,
Right there.
because after all, we're spreading the news that Jesus is coming very soon, and we want to have more people know about it. As much as I wish that the people in Japan will know about it. I know LLBN start to send in a message to other country in a different country, but I haven't heard from it that LLBN and sending a message to Japan yet. But then I'm praying someday that might happen.
You know what? It's already happened through the internet.
Internet, I found out.
People can just go to LLBN.tv, and in Japan, in China, in India, they can watch all over the world. Isn't that wonderful how the Lord has blessed us?
Yes. I found out the other day, I was looking at the General Conference meeting. And then in the magazine that they sent out, in that magazine, I found out there is a new church members baptized. I found that in a magazine, and I was so happy because a lot of people told me, because Japan is a Buddhist country, so it's hard to spread the news, but it's happening. So I know. And then internet is helping too. So I noticed that, well, God's message gonna be spread to the whole world, and then Jesus gonna come.
Amen. Praise God.
Amen. That's what I'm praying for each day. Each day.
Won't you join us in the prayer of Myori to hasten the soon coming of Jesus?
Yes.
We're all out of time, and I want to thank you so much
Yes.
for coming down.
Yes.
You just came right down here just for this interview. And
I hope I didn't waste your time.
Oh, are you kidding? Just sit still, and we'll say goodbye to the folks right now.
Okay.
So before we say goodbye, I just want to talk to a very few of you and let you know that we are addressing the audio problem that you're having. There's a little, but it just affects just a few of you. And if you're affected, we'd like to hear from it. But otherwise, that is going to go away in a day or two. So thank you for your patience. Again, Myori, I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for inspiring people to come and volunteer for here at the LLBN. And we look for, about another 100 years of your volunteering with us.
100 years.
At least till Jesus comes.
Tell me, if I live another 10 years, I'm doing very, very good. But I'm believing that Jesus is coming very soon, because what's happening in U.S. now, I mean, you know.
Well, there's all things that are happening that all over the world, not in this country. We're all out of time, folks. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Week in Review.